Years ago, there was a charter amendment, there was a charter effort that was put into our city charter, saving 65 feet and 100 feet as the height limits, because the city was economically depressed back then, just like this hotel has been not economically viable because it doesn't have the amenities and things that it needs to compete in today's hotel market. So please, let's not diss our history and think that we're smarter today than we were back then. We need this hotel open. This is, I think, a very important decision that you guys are making here tonight. This is not a popularity contest, who gets the biggest applause and how many applause they're getting. This is important for this city, not just for this hotel, but for this entire city. And we've got to realize that that this city needs to move forward and this gets started.
Thank you. At the end, sir.
No, Mayor,
We're in the middle of a
a
process.
statement has been made that is libelous and is a lie, and that needs to be retracted.
I will find the
We're,
meeting.
we're
Go ahead.
point of
Challenge.
order, please. At the end of this, we're in the middle of a quasi-judicial process. We're gonna do it in the order in which we're required to do it, and then you are more than welcome to make whatever comments you'd like to make, Commissioner. And no comments, please, from the audience. Caroline Chen, would you like to testify?
Oh, no, I just meant to make a comment.
Okay, I'll do it in under comments then, thank you. Martin Wellfeld, did you want to testify?
You bet.
Okay.
Wellfeld, 829 North Lakeside Drive.
You swear or affirm your testimony that you give us the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I certainly do. Nobody's saying anything new tonight. We're all familiar with all of the issues. Everybody's made the same arguments more times than any of us care to remember. It all boils down to which direction are we going to take? Is Lake Worth going to move forward, or is it going to be dragged backward? This project represents an opportunity to bring financial life into the city, where it has been sitting vacant and void of opportunity for at least, 10 years. There will be jobs for people. We have friends and neighbors in this city who are without jobs, who need those jobs. We're the second poorest municipality in the county. I don't see how we could vote against depriving them of this job opportunity. I would like to see Lake Worth move forward. I'd like to see us change get a new nickname, actually. We know what the old bad one is. I'd like us to be Lake Success. I think we have great opportunities here, and I think it will be very instructive for us all to see who wants to vote to move Lake Worth forward and who wants to vote to take Lake Worth and drag it back. Thank you.
These have been, are ones that were designed for public comment only, so there will, no testimony will be needed. Melissa Jones was the first one that I had called earlier. You were there? Oh, I'm sorry, Peggy, did I miss you?
Go ahead,
Oh. Okay. You talked. Sorry, please come on, come on. Calm down.
Oh, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the commission, city officials, and citizens of Lake Worth. So, my name is Melissa Jones, and I felt compelled to come up and speak because I am, I guess in this room, probably the newest resident in Lake Worth. Myself and my wonderful supportive fiance, we just purchased a home in Lake Worth. And I wanted to share why we purchased a home in Lake Worth. A little backstory real quick. I've had the opportunity to travel to many places. I've lived in many wonderful, beautiful cities. And I did not at all expect to come to Florida. And I didn't expect to buy a home in Lake Worth. But I did. And the reason that I did is because I've traveled enough, I've been educated enough, and I've been involved enough with many cities, many councils, and it's a passion of mine. But I shared it with you because I love Lake Worth. And the reason I love Lake Worth, and my fiance loves Lake Worth, is because we saw such great potential in your city. We saw just beautiful streets. And we've been very welcomed by our neighborhood association, South Palm Park. And I just really felt compelled to share that. We also noticed the beautiful Gulfstream Hotel. I have myself personally, in 2 different cities, I have witnessed a whole sit empty for 10 years, completely empty. And then it got filled in and rebuilt with a beautiful building, and it revived that city. And I also saw an old building got refurbished, and the same thing happened. With respect to those individuals that live here that feel compelled that this is not a positive move, I completely respect that. But I would like to say that with my background and coming to this city, it's a wonderful project, and I do hope they all can come together and support it. Thank you.
David Sims? Then we'll have to continue on with name and address, even though you're not the one of us.
Since 715 North L, a gentleman previously couched this issue as between moving forward or being held back. I would like to suggest that having height limits does not hold us back. You could build a project with height limits. Without height limits, if we build up, we could be kind of like a mini West Palm or a mini Delray Beach. But I think we'd be losing something. The low heights, building heights of our downtown, and just the general feel of our downtown, give us a kind of a unique character that the other cities around Palm Beach County don't really have. And that's something of value too. If we're just another, West Palm or Delray, then, we don't really have something we could market as unique to people. I think you could have height limits for this project, 45 feet, like the people want it, and you could go ahead and build the project within those limits. And, then you can get your business development and have the residents happy too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Tammy Panza left a card that reads, "We need the Gulfstream Hotel and the plans moving forward. Let's not bicker the town into a large rotting hulk instead of an historic landmark open hotel. We would also like to see more and public plans posted on the city website. I would like to see the Gulfstream open in the near future." Oh, it goes around the card. "I'd also like to ensure that there is adequate parking and that once the hotel is open, then no other buildings over us be allowed in the downtown area in question." Okay. Mark Herbert, "The Gulfstream is a historic landmark and needs to be saved. It sat dormant for far too long. This project has to move forward or we'll risk losing the jewel of the city." Peggy Fisher.
Yay, I finally come back.
Sorry. I lost you as they stacked on.
That's all right. Peggy Fisher, 508 North A Street. The issue before you is zoning. It's not the referendum, the charter referendum, although there was an email that goes out and says there's legal uncertainty regarding the status of heights in our charter, which I find questioning and concerning that anyone, as elected official, would say that. So I would ask for clarification on that from our city attorney. But this is regarding zoning, and we need this. We need the Gulfstream to move forward. The proposed additional hotel is lower than the existing hotel. Some facts are not being presented. When it came before the Historic Resources Preservation Board, they were lots of questions. I sat through the whole meeting, and they were told, if you object to this, state what your objections to this zoning being approved are. Well, that's why it was a 7-0 vote, because it was compliant with our regulations. That is your job. It's not to put your opinion in it, it's to see what's before you is appropriate within our regulations. Now, I understand not being happy with the referendum. but you've gotta be unhappy with the state legislator who voted to enact the law retroactively. Not with these people, because they didn't enact the law retroactively. And there are other instances in the society we live in where things happen that we don't agree with. But we have to keep moving forward, and we have to move this city forward. We have to do something to provide the resources that we need to operate this city, to fix our roads, to fix our water pipes, to do the things that are necessary that we don't have the funding for. Thank you.
Thank you. Lenny Anderson left some comments. For this upzoning request to even appear before you, you are ignoring our vote and its outcome on the charter amendment. You could have honored our vote and you chose to ignore it. Why? We are the people you serve. Why wouldn't the wishes of your constituents be of concern? Are we still a democracy? I'm here to remind you that there was a charter amendment on heights. We take our vote very seriously, and should you, as is the most important right we have as citizens. And no matter how you feel personally about it, the people won at the ballot box on 45 feet in the area of the Gulf Stream. As elected representatives of all of us who have standing in this endeavor, those of us who petitioned for, incidentally, Helen Marino and I were the top petitioners, those of us who campaigned for and who voted for this charter amendment, we expect you to honor this vote. Lawrence McNamara. It's a long one, Tammy. Florida Statute 166.031 authorizes citizens of any municipality to amend their charter in the exact way we citizens did to limit development in our downtown area encompassing the Gulfstream property to 45 feet. We citizens were disenfranchised by a questionable opinion offering to the City Commission by Assistant City Attorney based on post facto legislation, which they used to ignore the Citizens Charter Amendment and refused to place the amendment into our charter. Post facto legislation is illegal in criminal cases and is becoming indefensible in civil cases with great regularity. To avoid exposing our citizens to another lawsuit, it would be prudent for your board members to reject this rezoning application and require the purported developer to work within the existing zoning regulations at 45 limits of the charter amendment. A city charter is the constitution of a municipality and its highest law. Ignoring it will put the developer and the city at risk for any construction in violation of its limits. In 2001, the 4th District Court of Appeals, our district, required a developer to demolish 2-story condos in Martin County that had been constructed adjacent to a single-family home, finding the development to have been in violation of the county's comprehensive plan. The developer continued construction, although the Pinecrest Lakes Incorporated versus Shadell suit was pending, and sold the condos, which were then occupied. The lower court dismissed Mr. Shadell's case, but the appellate court ruled for her and against the developer. The zoning change you are considering tonight is in violation of the charter amendment passed the Lake Worth citizens in a significant majority yet ignored by the commission and council. The city charter is an even higher authority than the comprehensive plan. It will be more prudent for you to reject this zoning change and require the developer to respect the 45-foot height limit called for by voters. 13 months ago, he promised to have the restoration done within 14 months. Protect our city and its citizens against yet another developer whose actions do not match his words.
Madam Mayor, motion to extend the meeting.
Oh, yes. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
No.
Mary Watson. And Pamela, you need to time these just as much. I'm trying to read them as fast as I can to get it all in, but you need to time them just as much as everybody else in the room. Okay. Item 12B. I'm very much in support of finally redoing and preserving the historic Gulfstream Hotel. It's high time the structure was addressed rather than slip further into ruin. I'm also strongly opposed to the precedent about to take place of developers taking precedence over zoning laws, citizen votes, and constitutional amendments. I attended the meeting of Historic Resources Preservation Board where this was approved and was very surprised to hear that a seated member of the board was not even aware that variances could be disapproved. This gives the impression of rubber stamping any development, period. Our city has always been praised for its small town character. Until a few weeks ago, this was on the Facebook page of lakeworth.org. Our downtown area is unique for its low-rise diversity of boutique shops, neighboring water holes, and high-end restaurant and antique shops. This added 2-story height will destroy that ambience and herald 7-story, profiteering at the expense of the very character that has been our hallmark. The Gulfstream already is grandfather's, as is any further embellishments can well be accommodated in the adjoining hotel. I'm also concerned about parking and traffic and access to the beach over time. We can learn valuable lessons from Delray, a city now witnessing the downsides of overdevelopment. As cited on Channel 5 News, this is now becoming a destination to avoid when going out to dinner or a night out on the town. Gridlock and overdevelopment have taken their toll, as well as indiscriminate catering to developers. Now the city is faced with a huge lawsuit if iPic Theater doesn't get its way. We should learn from this. As a longtime destination for tourists from the US and abroad, I've been told repeatedly on the beach that this is why people come here, some as long as 20 years. We have a good beach, we're not overdeveloped, we're accessible, we're a small town with lots to do, near both the very ritzy and the very hip. This will all be lost with a 7 to 8 story corridor, more traffic congestion and catering to outside influences. This also is one more nail in the coffin of representative government. The will of the people is clearly 45-foot heights in downtown. Constitutional amendment is valid. Here we go. Mary Watson, West Blackman.
You can go ahead and read it as a public comment, that's fine.
The Gulfstream Hotel is the tallest building on our waterfront, nestled among other buildings of a similar size, scale, and height. You could say the hotel occupies the most prominent location in the city. It's on our main street that leads to our downtown and the city's beach. For 90 years, the building has stood watching the city and society change around it. We, the residents, and our elected and appointed officials are vested with the only responsibility with the responsibility of creating the right environment for this property, not to only survive, but thrive. Other residents who have come before us recognized its importance to the community. The hotel was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1983. I've lived here 23 years. Most of my memories of the Gulfstream Hotel are of the building being closed. This is not the fault of the current owners of the property. It's really not the fault of the previous owners of the property. There are a series of long existing conditions that have contributed to its closure, some going back 30 to 40 years. Dixie Highway, replaced by I-95 as the main means of travel through and to South Florida communities, is one. Rooms in the building are too small to be attractive in the present tourist marketplace is another. Lack of adequate and convenient parking is another, and the list goes on and on. We need a vibrant, historic, first-class flagship hotel in Lake Worth, hosting visitors from around the world and having them contribute to the economic health and vitality of the city. The Gulfstream Hotel can be much more than a closed and dark remnant of the city's past. We need to get ourselves out of the way for it to prosper. Approving this rezoning request will lower one of these self-imposed barriers and open the door for the property to contribute to the community again. This is the public purpose. You need to approve the rezoning. I need a drink of water. It's a long. Teresa Miller. I'm unable to stay here tonight, therefore thank the mayor for reading my comments. There are questions to be asked. Why are the few so violently anti-progress? Are they afraid streets and sewers will be fixed? Afraid streetlights will be installed in dark neighborhoods? Afraid fire hydrants will be available where none exist? Are they afraid property values, including theirs, will increase? Clearly, improving Lake Worth is nothing to fear. I'm baffled by the fear that some harbor and encourage. Lake Worth needs jobs. Lake Worth needs repairs. Lake Worth needs money. Lake Worth businesses need customers. The city does not participate in the huge tourist revenue generated by visitors to Florida. We have an historic opportunity to change that. The Gulfstream rebirth is an opportunity for Lake Worth that the city cannot afford to miss. Why would anyone not want to improve this city? What are their real motives? Now is the time for all of you who want what is right and good for Lake Worth, who want to move this city forward, to stand up and make your desires known here tonight and at the voting booth. Lake Worth needs the help and support of every rational person to move the city forward.
Amen. Amen.
Next one is from, what's this attached to? Oh, we gave it to all of us. My fiance, this is from Anthony Murata. My fiance and I decided to move to Lake Worth just over 2 years ago when we found a beautiful historic home built in 1912 right near the water across the street from a golf course with many great amenities nearby in an up-and-coming city. After finding such a great place with so much to offer, we spent much time researching the local political climate and city management. We found that the city management commission in place at the time had been working very hard and laying great groundwork to bring Lake Worth forward and try to undo many years of what seemed to be intentional mismanagement. This encouraging direction convinced us that Lake Worth was the place to invest our future in and call our community. We like the feel and charm of the city and know its wonderful potential. I'm a firm believer in respectful, smart growth and progress to improve on the city and provide an improving quality of life to its residents. I believe the revitalization of the Gulfstream Hotel will add much-needed jobs to help lower our unemployment and poverty rate, which, as you know, is one of the highest in the county, and will attract visitors who can finally stay directly in our city to spend their money with our merchants and restaurants, as well as allow us to better showcase what a great city it is to live in. I've heard reference to a vote in 2013 regarding Heights Amendment, and that even though state law trumps it, it should be regarded as the will of the people, and to ignore it is to ignore their voice. I, along with many other newer residents and voters, were not here at that time and had no opportunity to take part in that vote. Should our voices therefore be discarded wholesale for the rest of eternity? I would like for my voice to also be heard. The proposed rezoning is, in my opinion, in harmony with the surroundings, and the request is consistent with the requirements of the city. It would be wonderful to be able to walk past a vibrant... Carolyn Chen? You're the last one to get your card in, sorry about that.
Caroline said 112 Philadelphia South. I want some clarification. So this ordinance, or this rezoning would be if there is one owner of the whole, of all the parcels that were outlined in the red? This rezoning would be if there was one owner of the...
If I may.
Yes, please.
There's a condition to the approval that says that the owner of both the historic hotel and the balance of the site, that they must unify the title, which means they have to record a unity of title against the entire property, so that it is developed as one cohesive project.
Okay, and then I would assume that if this place ever gets owned by some other company, that they wouldn't be able to just, that in other words, if they broke up the property.
They can't.
No.
Thank you. Any more cards? Anyone's?
No.
Yes.
What is it that has to do with things that were sent in to us?
It's up to, yeah. You want to read something? Sure.
I will try to find them all. Some of them are a bit long.
Under the same 2-minute restriction.
Yeah. All right, this is from Sanders Schrantz, traveling out of the country, but would like my statement to be read in the record regarding 12B. 3 years ago, my wife and I purchased triplets on South M Street that previously had been an active sober home, was suffering from years of neglect. Over the past 3 years, we've invested everything we have to move to completely and legally renovate the property. I'm proud to say we now live on the property, renting it out to young local working professionals. So we chose Lake Worth for several reasons. Certainly the small town neighborhood feel was a major factor. We like the laid back, low-rise, eclectic feel of our city. Prefer this to other more developed and bustling lakeful cities such as West Palm and Delray Beach. That being said, I strongly support Hudson Holdings' recently proposed plan for renovating and upgrading historic Gulfstream Hotel. I encourage the Commission to approve the proposed rezoning application that will allow their plan to come to fruition. The proposed rezoning and subsequent renovation would be a major win for a city and would not, in my opinion, change the low-rise feel of our city. All one needs to do to understand this is to go to stand in the spot where the proposed plan would take place, look at the surrounding buildings that would continue to tower over the proposed addition, including the hotel itself. to claim that this proposal would negatively affect the city and change its small town feel is absurd. What this proposal would do, however, is convert a decades-old dilapidated building into a beautiful and active historic hotel, which would be a point of pride for our city and attract more young families like ourselves to come purchase homes, not as absentee investors or sober home proprietors, but to live and raise a new generation of proud Lake Worth residents. Please do not give in to the heated rhetoric that so often holds back our beloved city and approve this rezoning application. Sandra Schrantz, 210 South M Street. Linda spoke. Anthony, you have. This is from Rob, and forgive me in pronunciation, Potochnik, P-O-T-O-C-H-N-I-K. Chris, what can we do? Dog owners. That looks like an old one.
We're not gonna do dog first.
No, but he said something about this, maybe he said two things. This one is from Brenda Smith. Dear committee members, we residents of Lake Worth are unable to make this important meeting, but would like our voice to be heard. We moved to this town many years ago due to the fact that it was not built up like all the other waterfront towns with huge buildings blocking our waterway view. In the process of living here and loving this town, we've gotten 8 other families to purchase homes in our great town for the same reason. If you start changing our rules and regulating the height of, I think that's supposed to say deregulating the height of buildings, you are losing the charm of our great city. Please do not allow Hudson Holdings to build any larger than the original 45 feet to keep the quality resident base we have now in our great city. We love our water and want to keep our city safe and enjoyable. Thank you, Brenda Smith, Michael Stetzer, and Arjuna Smith.
Address?
What's the address?
I don't have an address.
Then don't read it, yeah.
Quiet in chambers, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, that's us. This is from Cheryl Leventhal and James Thompson. And to the City Commissioners and Mayor, I would like to express my concern and dismay regarding a very important issue in Lake Worth. I've been a resident for 26 years and I'm deeply disturbed that the City Commission is not listening to the people. We voted only 2 years ago on the issue of height limit zoning. It seems that fact is being ignored. I do not know who, other than Hudson Holdings, this project benefits in the long run, but I'm stunned that there is seemingly no vision as to alternatives regarding Lake Worth. If there is a benefit to the city and its residents, it is dwarfed by the cost, which is certainly not only monetary. Please keep this project within bounds that exist for a reason. This city is unique in its charm and beauty. It is also one of the last places that are remnants of, quote, old Florida, unquote. I grew up in South Florida, and it saddens me to see such limited vision, quotes, as to how to improve our city. Are you picturing Delray Beach, West Palm? Try picturing Lake Worth and its uniqueness and character. Please do not go down the same destructive path we see all around us. Thank you. Cheryl Leventhal and James Thompson.